Check. What's up? Yeah, this is a little disappointing. I actually have worked for the States people here in New York, and I have to respect their work and what they've achieved. No one's perfect. But let's see. This was actually, I was excited to see Convention from the States. I want to see what's going on here.
We're going to hit a lot of stuff going on. Obviously, we've got the debate, we've got elections, we've got Israel.
Okay, then he goes.
Got some pronoun mandates. God forbid you say the wrong pronouns. Where my mind is at every single day right now. And that is, I'm not doing a strip tease here, I promise. You don't have to worry about that. So this is not a drag show or some weird thing like that. But I have to show you, if you look at the shirt that I'm wearing, you can see very clearly that it says Israel.
And it's got a big Jewish star on it, and it says, I support Israel. I stand with Israel. I am being pushed on us by this administration. This is just cultural Marxism, and it's really bad. All right, I'm going to go to my final subject today before I go to Q&A. Before I do, I have to do something. I want you to see where my heart is at and where my mind is at every single day right now. And that is, I'm not doing a strip tease here, I promise. You don't have to worry about that. So this is not a drag show or some weird thing like that. But I have to show you, if you look at the shirt that I'm wearing, and you can see very clearly that it says Israel. And it's got a big Jewish star on it, and it says, I support Israel. I stand with Israel. I am almost every day when I'm out and about in town, I am wearing a shirt like this. Not this exact shirt, but I bought a whole bunch of them. I bought stickers that I put on my car that show I support Israel. And I want you to understand why I'm doing this. And there are several reasons. The biggest reason of all is the existential cultural reason. What we see taking place in Israel right now is not a fight between Israel and Hamas. Of course, that's happening. It's not just a fight between Israel and Hamas and Hezbollah. Of course, that's happening. It's not just about a horrifying, barbaric terrorist attack in which over 1,500 Israelis died. Of course, that's the reality. And I encourage you, if you've not seen the videos, if you have not looked the atrocities in the face, you should do that. This is not even a conflict between Israelis, Jews, and the Arab world. That's not big enough. This is a conflict between civilizations. This is a war between Western civilization and the barbarians. And the barbarians are not at the gate. They're inside the gate. The barbarians broke through the walls in Israel and slaughtered 1,500 people. If you've not seen the video, again, watch it. Babies shot in the face in their cribs, women raped in the most brutal fashion until they died, grandparents killed, children thrown into ovens, literally, babies thrown into ovens and baked alive while their mothers were raped. This is literally stuff that's on video. That is a clash of civilizations. And what the
Well, look, I'm not really with the attack that happened with the. No, I appreciate that. You know, I mean, I think that there should be fairness on both sides. And I don't, the taking of hostages. There was American hostages taken too. That, this is not cool. Yeah, I'm not with that at all. But, the reason why we got here was because of, some group decided to just throw all the Jewish people into, and let's be real, a lot of European countries didn't want their Jewish people and decided to say, oh, let's put them here. Let's put them here, yeah? And I've done a lot of work on the Palestinian cause. I've had bones break in my face multiple times. And multiple events fighting the Israeli influence, because there is this kind of, kowtowing that goes on. You see, like, the mayor, this was before that happened, you see, like, the mayor of New York, like, kissing the rock, let's see, Mayor Adams, Israel. You could see him kissing the wall and stuff, and a lot of politicians do this, like, right here, like, they pay tribute to Israel a lot, a lot. And New York and Israel share an unbreakable bond. And, now the Republicans, right, is because it's the power and the money. And you know, like, will this help or hurt his cause, as in terms of like getting a you know, convention of states? Like, what is there, you know? It is fair to stand against the, you know, like to help the hostages and stuff, but there's more to the story than this. You know what I mean? And he he's not really talking about the whole thing, right? There's been a lot of deaths on the Palestinian side versus the Israelis for a long time. And even though I'm really disappointed with the Palestinians because they're really not trying to help Koreans, they're not helping people with wrongful convictions, they're not helping people in public housing. They don't have to help any of that, but you know, there is some hype going on, and you know, Palestinians on, for me personally, have been really disappointing. But I still, you know, look, they're a people that have been facing a lot of poverty, and they have a lot of. They're not really able to help others a lot because they have their own struggle going on. You know, they're really. I used to live in Bay Ridge, you know what I mean, and people there have like extreme levels of poverty, and you're talking about the raping and stuff going on, right? Yeah. The anger and the resentment and the poverty have led to these people getting messed up, you know, and you don't seem to acknowledge or understand that. It is what it is, but you know, this is actually makes me much more leery of the whole Convention Safe project too, right? Like, is this because of the money? Is this more of this type of thing, right? Yeah, is this? It seems like all the people, Democrats or Republicans, right? If you want the money, if you want the power, you play this game. Yeah. Please. Right? Are we all gonna kneel to, you know, show deference to Israel? Is this what we do? What is this, man? It's because of their political power that they can force this to happen, right? Come on, guys. Democrats and Republicans be bending over backwards. We're gonna return to this topic in a moment. Yeah. Whose side are you on, bro?
Hamas Nazis are openly saying what other countries are saying is that they intend to commit genocide. And it's not just genocide against the Jews. They say first they come for the Saturday people. They mean the Saturday Sabbath of the Jews. And then they come for Sunday people. And that means Christians, like a lot of us. I'm a Jewish Christian. I'm lucky. I fall in both categories that they want to kill. So there is a genocidal civilization that.
Okay. I have to say that there is the level of anger that has been stoked. There are people who are gonna feel this level of anger, but that exists on both sides. I've seen Jewish people doing it too, so, or Israelis doing it too, so, you know, and they're angry too, right? They, as you said, right, had babies stuck in them and all this other thing, right? It's possible. I mean, people were pissed off. You know, I was in Bay Ridge, so I saw it. You know what I mean? You hear about in Europe about, like, you know, a lot of women getting raped. This happened in Bay Ridge as well. You know, and I know those guys. They were called PLO. It was Street Gang that came out, and you know, it was some really, it was some unsettling shit. It wasn't cool at all. I didn't like it. You know, I mean, as just being a street dude, like people got to the street, like not through necessarily good ways, right? Yeah, there's more refugees. They had a lot of, and one of the things that you do not get to hear about is the level of generational violence and how this affects communities and cultures. And you don't hear this from the anti-war side either. And you see a real, unfortunately, a unity within the Republicans and Democrats on this path. And this is, you know, part of the swamp that, you know, Trump talks about, like defeating. Well, this, you know, the Democrats and Republicans are in solidarity on this, you know what I mean? And is it because they really have an ideological, like, you know, desire to help, right? I could talk about wrongful incarcerated people in New York. I just got back from helping Kay Marie Presley and Kay, you You know, Preston Day, they're fighting for wrongful convictions at home. Right? These people are not taking care of that. These people do not take care of the wrongfully convicted at home. People locked up for decades in the American judicial system, wrongful incarcerations. They don't care about that. So if they can do that to their own people, then why wouldn't they, why would they be outraged at happening overseas? No, they're outraged because the victims have power and have value, right, in the ways that they want. It's a little sad, bro.
That wants to wipe out the West. And
I'm not saying like he's allowed to think what he thinks, though. You know what I mean? That's true too. We should have freedom of speech. And once again, not everybody who supports Israel is evil. Okay, I know they might be overlooking some things. That's why even the Palestinians, right? Even though I've had my face smashed in and they haven't helped back, like I'm still sympathetic and I still want to help them too. It's not like over, right? Yeah, I mean, as in terms of sacrificing myself and putting myself on the front lines, I'm just not going to do that. But as in terms of I'm still going to be sympathetic. I'm still making this material, right? Yeah, Commission of States has actually helped me and even funded me, right? I've touched them at me. They're actually the only NFP that ever really helped me. But they say don't bite the hand that feeds you. I'm not really trying to bite the hand. Just trying to say, I think there should be a little bit more discussion within the community of Convention of States amongst the grassroots about this kind of a move. But once again, Mark, you're allowed to. You have a big platform, you have a big stage, you're allowed to do that. But before you do this, I think this could really impact, it makes me hesitant now. I still like what Convention of States does. Nothing can take away from what you've achieved. But we know that Convention of States has significant donations, and did those things play a role, as in terms of this video coming out like this? Let's keep going. Let's see what we have to say here.
We're going to have to face that, and we're going to have to stand against that if our society is to survive. And I'm not just talking about America. We're talking about tens of thousands of people marching in the streets in America, yes, that are pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist, pro-Nazi, pro-genocide, yes, but you're talking about even more across Europe.
That's I think that's a little bit too far, bro. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Hamas is perfect, and I'm not as Hamas. I really don't know much about Hamas, to tell you the truth, right? Yeah, a lot of the information is false. No organization is perfect. So, and I'm sure the people on the Israeli side, they also do bad things, right? So, the Palestinian thing, and as terms of like talking about like indigenous communities and communities of color, non-European communities, there is actually, when you talk about two worlds, like, did he talk about the barbarian thing? Right, Western civilization versus the barbarians. That's pretty, that's concerning, right? You know who else did that? The Chinese, right? Yeah. This is a ethnocentric, and I'm not saying I don't appreciate Western culture, but like, damn, bro, like, it's us versus them, like everybody else. Damn.
Western civilization is going to collapse on itself unless you and I stand up. So why do I wear an Israel shirt? Like, is that a big deal to put on a t-shirt? Isn't that the same as maybe like putting a little Israel flag on as an icon on social media or something like that, which I think you should do too? It's not the same. It's more. I go out in public in this shirt because I want people.
Okay, so he can keep railing off about this. Hopefully what he says later on is that Convention of States funds and Convention of States, I mean, already, like, it's already projecting this message. He's not really projecting wrongful incarcerated or, public housing or any of these other people that are in need. Okay.
People to understand there is public support for Israel and that we are not afraid. We are the standard bearers for Western civilization, and we cannot be afraid. We have to be fully in the fight. We have to be willing to take the fight to the rest of the world that wants to push back against American civilization and Western civilization at large.
Okay, wait a second, okay? Is Israel's civilization American civilization? Right? Isn't that a weird tie? How is right? Isn't that really like Western powers saying that we have the right to tell other communities and cultures how to live? By the way, I want to just tell you right now that even though this guy is saying this, right, progressive lefties think this way too, right? LaRouchians think this way too, right? Yeah. There is no real respect for the sovereignty of other. They're barbarians. This is troubling, Mark. No one's perfect, but hopefully he'll say that convention of state funds and convention of state, resources are not being used, right, to fund, right? Because convention of states, I think they say they're going for term limits, they're going for, balanced budget, and they're going for, right? They have it clearly spelled out what they're going for the amendment for, and there is nowhere in their thing is Israel. So if he really believes in it, it's fair for him to make the point, but hopefully they're not mingling the funds together. We're gonna see though, right? There's also he may be buying or getting products and services, right, and having convention states monies goes towards the Israel, support businesses that support Israel and things like that. So we're gonna see. Let's see what he has to say about that. He almost definitely is steering money into that direction.
It's up to you and me. There's a protest taking place this week in Austin, and I'm saying this with full understanding of the term that I'm using.
There's mad stuff going on in Austin, especially the Independence Convention. We take a look at Tulsi. We had that down there with Chris, and there's another guy named Brock Pierce, right? I've been trying to follow what's going on with this guy. He's also did the Independence National Convention down there in Austin, Texas. There's a lot of activity going on all of a sudden, right? Yeah. The Israelis have a lot of money. What do they do with that money? They tried to hammer in, but they tried to hammer in this stuff, right? So we're gonna get back to you. Oh, word. Okay, we're gonna come back to this one over here. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's another issue. Okay, we'll come back to that one. Teaching liberty's on, eh? Okay. Hope that hasn't been black.
I'm tired of people misusing the term Nazi, but when you believe in the genocide of the Jewish population, I think that the term Nazi probably was. And I couldn't be there, but one of my friends.
Okay. There's a what is a Nazi? Does Nazi mean anti-Jew? Or is it possible that there's Jewish Nazis, right? Nationalism, right? Nazism, national socialism, right? That's what Nazi means. So there's an ideology behind it, right? And it could be used, right? Christianity also has been used to be anti-Jewish. Doesn't have to be anti-Jewish, right? This guy says he's a Christian Jew, but who killed Jesus, right? Like, come on, man, like. So, and a lot of the tradition of the anti-Judaism has happened from Christians. So, no group is really clean in this. You know what I mean? You can't say Western civilization has not been very good to Jewish people. So, let's be real, man.
Friend said, "Would you go?" And I said, "Yeah, I would absolutely go." And he said, "Wasn't it dangerous?" And I said, "Yeah, it's probably dangerous. These people are violent. We've now had older Jewish gentlemen that got killed in Thousand Oaks, California, hit over the head by a pro-Palestinian, pro-Nazi protester. We've had a synagogue leader outside of Dearborn, Michigan, brutally stabbed.
Do you know what kind of violence and poverty conditions are going on in Palestine, bro? Do you know? Okay, I know. I lived amongst those people, man. Their shit is real over there, bro. Like, you put people into a fucking, a blender of violence and pain. What do you expect, man? You cannot just ignore the conditions, right? Any human put into those conditions would be be affected. For real, man. Like, it's kind of troubling.
Been murdered. There's a lot of this stuff going on all over the country right now. Anti-Jewish hate crimes are up 400% at last count in America over this time last year. Yeah, it's dangerous. And yeah, we got to go to Jerusalem. The colonizers.
Yeah, I want to also just, once again, for the people that have loved ones who've been taken hostage and stuff, that's not cool. And I am, right? Even if you're an Israeli sympathizer, I don't think your family should be taken hostage and stuff, you know. But I think, you know, if you're gonna go and, you know, bomb and try to like carpet bomb and get rid and destroy them, I mean, damn, like it's not cool. Like then you're gonna get that, you know. Let me just do a quick little thing here. Okay, so right now, so I just typed in Palestinian casualties versus Israel casualties, and it says 18,600 Palestinians in Gaza have been killed since 2008, with 1,500 killed in Israel over the same period. I mean, come on, man. Like, you see this, right? Yeah? Like, and then they did this, and then there was a snapback. I mean, what did you expect, man? I just typed this in Google, bro. Like, right now. Like, I just did that, yeah. Like, I also, there's some Israelis, there's like a former Israeli soldier who actually came on, and he actually had some interesting things to say, and he made some interesting points that are not being discussed in this, right? I want to also, there's other sides of this issue that are not being talked about, right? And as outsiders, we have to be worried about, can we take care of home first, right? You're worried about these people, these Israelis. What about the wrongfully convicted, man? What about Asian Americans, right? And our struggle, right? We're former war victims, man. You could consult with us about the generational violence, but that doesn't work for you, does it?
Western civilization and a desire to destroy Western civilization. And I, for one, am not going to stand by and let that happen. And I, for one, am willing to risk whatever it takes risking in order to prevent that from happening. And that means, if it seems silly to you, I'm sorry, but it means putting on my pro-Israel shirt and going to the grocery store.
How is Israel Western civilization? Right? There's Jewish people in Ethiopia too, right? Yeah. Africa. There's like, is Africa considered Western civilization?
It means going out in public, being at the gas station. It means going to the movie theater. It means going to the restaurant on Friday night wearing my pro-Israel gear so that people can know that there is support out there for Israel, but for Western civilization. Because it's all at stake for your kids, us. Why would they be saying that? Do I seem like the kind of a guy that would be funded by Soros? Look, this rumor is spread by the John Birch Society. And I will just say openly, that's vile, it's evil, it's disgusting, it's degenerate to say something like that. John Birch Society, they go out and they say stuff that they know is untrue. It really comes from the John Birch Society. That's why I call them the J. And we know this for sure. We look at the history, and this is why we chose our 3 issues: fiscal responsibility, term limits, and scope and jurisdictional restraints. Because if you look at the efforts to get to a convention of states throughout American history, and there have been many, and most of them are single issue and they go nowhere. Because you just can't get enough of the American people on one issue. Also, there's no single issue that's going to solve our problems. We need fiscal restraints. We need term limits, not just on...
About fiscal restraints regarding, like, spending in Israel, right? Like, this is really, what's going on, bro? Like, So, like, the three things they talks about, right? Fiscal restraints, right? Terms like that sounds like, something that could be supportable, but, then do you support, like, military aid for Israel? And actually, the guy who came on, he actually had a decent point to make. He's actually originally, I think, Iranian or Iraqi or something. So he has a more complex, viewpoint of this whole thing, right? Because he also has like an Arabic country background. But it's military aid to Israel. Okay, and I don't even put U.S. right. I bet you this is just like it's just U.S. centric. 38 billion. Okay, but then we say he made a point that military aid to Israel versus Middle East. Because supposedly the amount that America gives to the U.S. gives to the Middle East like way outpaces the amount of money being given to Israel. So supposedly the claim is being made that the U.S. is making money selling arms to both sides, and that sounds kind of like the U.S. I'm sorry to say, yeah, that sounds like this kind of. 80% of voters concerned the U.S. will be drawn into war. I don't think the people, Republicans support sending more military aid to Israel. Independents are divided. And so they may be, bending to the Republican base.
Congressmen, but on staffers and bureaucrats. And we need to limit the scope and power of the federal government if we're going to get this behemoth.
And the whole, honestly, the whole discussion about the fact that, his main argument, right? I think the argument of displacement of Jewish people from the Arab world, right? I think the argument of, there's some other convincing arguments about, like, where are these people going to go, right? Yeah, where are these people that have faced a lot of persecution in their lives, right? Yeah, how are we going to ensure that they have safety and survival? That's fair. And that's something I like Jewish people, so it's not all of them, but there's one of the most stories of generosity that that I received in my life is from Jewish people. You know what I mean? But not all Jewish people is for Israel. You know what I mean? This dude was a Hasidic guy, and Hasidic people believe that actually Israel is actually a perversion of what's supposed to happen in the book, and they believe actually it's an evil construct. But this is troubling. I have other issues going on right now, and I can't really dig too deep into this. But this is disappointing. But is it? There's a lot of people over here, wrongful conviction people